What is up, everybody? Bootman here, and we are back with another Marvel Snap video. And in this video, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're not gonna go over any decks or cards. We're gonna be going over Snap strategy. It's something that I've been thinking about oh so much lately. And I wanted to explain my thoughts and opinions and a little bit of logic around why I think to reach infinite, the whole snapping idea is a little bit pointless and actually might be a bit counterproductive, all right? This is gonna be controversial, but I beg of you to stay until the end of the video and then we'll have a discussion in the comment section, all right? But before we get started, if you're new here, hi, my name is Chris. I also go by Bootman. And if you love Marvel Snap as much as I do, especially learning how to rank up the ladder, usually going over different decks, card strategies, all that stuff, make sure you subscribe, ring that notification bell. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers and you can help us get there. And if you do so, not only do I promise to provide you with amazing content, but we have an awesome Discord community down in the description below. And there is a link to my Twitter at BootmanMSTZ. Follow me over there because every single month I give away 3 season passes for free. Next month is the Spider-Verse season pass. Bunch of Spider-Man cards coming out. I'm super excited. So make sure you follow me on Twitter so you don't miss your chance to win one of the 3 season passes. All right, let's jump into this thing. So this is something I've been thinking a lot about lately, all right? So to give you some background about me, which I'll dive into a little bit more in a second, and my experience snapping and all that. So we just hit infinite last night, all right? And to start this thing off, I'll tell you, I hit infinite a lot faster once I stopped snapping, okay? So if you need something to hook you in for the rest of my arguments, there you go, all right? I hit infinite after I stopped snapping and it was very quick. We're talking like less than a day. I ranked up 10 ranks, boom. All right, but anyways, I also have a background in poker. And any of you who have played poker, you probably see a lot of similarities with the whole snap mechanic, along with poker, everything like that, all right? But as far as my Marvel Snap background, those of you who've been around for a while since I started this channel, I've been a very conservative snapper, okay? I've always disagreed with first turn snapping. I don't think it's a good idea. I started snapping a little bit more aggressively, but even when we're gonna discuss aggressive snap strategies, I never think snapping turn 1 is a good idea, right? First off, you have no intel on your opponent's deck. Second off, you have no idea what the new locations are. Like, 2 out of 3 locations completely screwing you over, negate your hand, all right? Like, if you're gonna be an aggressive snapper, at least wait till turn 2. Come on, baby, just get a little bit more information, okay? So, anyways, a few seasons ago, so I've hit infinite every single season since I started playing, all 7, right? But a few seasons ago, it was a really rough run. I decided to just, take it a little bit more casually. I was gonna take the season off from hitting infinite. I still hit infinite, but I decided that season I was gonna start trying to snap more aggressively, right? And yeah, so I had some mixed results and now I have a lot more experience with that. So let's relate snap to poker real quick, okay? And by the way, there's gonna be a caveat about everything I'm saying that I'll mention in a little bit towards the end of the video, okay? So snapping is a lot like poker. So for any of you who know poker, play poker, sit back, relax, feel free to critique my comments about poker and strategy behind poker. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you disagree or you have anything to add, all right? So anyways, poker, primarily Texas Hold'em. I'm from Las Vegas, by the way, but I got really into poker when I first got sober almost 11 years ago. Okay, I got sober, I had absolutely no money, all right? And it was the only way for me to really provide for myself, okay, to have any kind of extra money, all right? So I really got into poker. I would turn $5 into $20, $20 into 40, 100, whatever, right? So there's 2 main types of poker at the casino, all right? So there is limit poker and then there's no limit poker, okay? Now, if you are broke like me, you played a lot of limit poker, okay? So maybe it'll be easier to explain limit poker if you understand no limit poker, which is what a lot of people know, or if you go to a friend's house, you play some poker, a lot of it's no limit poker, all right? So no limit poker, we're all dealt 2 cards, okay? Nothing's turned over yet. Dealer hasn't flipped over any cards yet. You get your 2 cards, you look at your hand, and based on your hand, okay, you could bet all right? And if somebody else bets, you can call them, you can raise them. So in no limit poker, let's say I get 2 aces in my hand. This is arguably the best hand that you could possibly have that you're dealt, pocket aces, okay? Some bullets, all right? So in no limit poker, I can bet as much as I want. If I wanna bet $100, if I wanna bet $1,000, if I wanna bet $2, $5, whatever it is, all right? Usually, sometimes there's a minimum bet, but you get what I'm saying. I could bet whatever I want, all right? So let's say we're playing no limit poker. I have pocket aces, I bet 10 bucks, all right? $10, boom, put it out there. Next person folds, they're like, I can't stay in this, next person folds. Then the next person says, okay, you bet $10, I raise you $50. Oh my God, they just did 5 times my bet, but they don't know that I have the best hand you could possibly get dealt, right? So my 10, they raised me to 50. Now I re-raise them. I raise them to $100. You see how this goes? We could just keep adding money, going crazy. We can go all in. Maybe we have $1,000 in chips, $5,000 in chips. Things get crazy. Now you understand how people go broke gambling. All right, that is no limit poker, okay? I did not have the money to play no limit poker when I first got sober and started playing, right? Like, I was starting out with $5, $10, $20, $40. So I would go to limit poker. Limit poker, it's like 1-2 limit, 2-4 limit, 3-6 limit. So the way that works is, let's say I get those same pocket aces. The most I can bet when I get those pocket aces, if nobody else has bet yet, I can bet 1. I can bet $1. All right? Now, the next person, they can either call me or raise me. So let's say it's kind of a similar scenario and someone wants to raise me. They raise it to $2, all right? So I bet 1, they can only raise it to 2, okay? Now I can call that. I can't remember, I haven't played limit poker in so long. You might be able to re-raise to 4, or maybe 2's the max, something around there. But you see what I mean? Like, it is a very finite amount that you can do. So nobody can just lose their butts off in limit poker. You can still lose your butt off if you stay there too long, all right? So anyways, it's much more restricted. Now, I'll tell you what drove me nuts going to the casinos playing limit poker with my broke self, is that you would have these people who were, I don't even want to say rich, but they came with a lot more money to gamble. Like, if you figure I'm bringing like $20 to $50, maybe $100 on a good day to gamble, these people are bringing in thousands of dollars. So they could sit there all day long and they're playing limit poker. So because, now think about this, if I have $50 and somebody else there has $1,000, how many hands do you think they're gonna stay in on, right? Like, if we're doing $1, $2 bets at a time, how many hands, like, even if they have the worst hand in the world, do you think they're gonna fold? Of course not. They're gonna stay in there, all right? So that's why limit poker, the strategy is a lot more difficult. If you're playing with someone like that, someone who just YOLOs and does not care. Now, here's the good news. Those people, once you recognize that person at the table, you can make a lot of money off them because they'll stay in on everything, they'll re-raise you and all that kind of stuff, and you just kind of gotta kind of bide your time and wait for that opportunity and just take as much from them as possible, all right? But in no limit poker, the idea of betting, raising, re-raising is like, so the best hand you can get is pocket aces. The worst hand you can get is a 7-2 offsuit, all right? 2 different suits and a 7-2, okay? So if there's no stakes in the game, like, your betting pushes people out, right? Because you don't want that guy sitting there with a 7-2 and before the cards even come out from the dealer, you don't want all of a sudden that person to hit a full house or a 3 of a kind or whatever it is, just because something so random can happen. So you're betting to say, listen, fool, if you wanna see these next cards, you're gonna have to pay. Now, that's a no limit poker, right? I can push people out. Like, if a guy had $1,000 at the table and I bet $500 on my hand, like, that guy's gonna have to think twice if he's gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna sit in here with the worst cards ever, right? But in limit poker, you can sit there all day, right? Oh, I'll see what my 7-2 does. Like, for example, me, very conservative bettor and everything like that in poker, but once I started winning a lot and I had a bigger cushion, I'd stay in on some worse hands, some hands I shouldn't stay in on, okay? So I hope you're seeing where I'm going with this. Marvel Snap is the equivalent of limit poker, okay? There is a finite amount of cubes that you can bet. You cannot push people out, all right? Now, right now you're thinking, well, like Chris, like they still lose cubes, they're gonna lose ranks and all that. So what? How many games have you stayed in? Now, here's the thing, we don't have any knowledge of the other person that we're playing with and what their hands are, but like what I recognize is how many people will just stay in. Like, oh, you snap me, I'll stay in for an additional two cubes, right? Like, because someone snaps you and you stay in, worst case scenario, it's 2 cubes, all right? Only if you snap them back is it 4 cubes if you stay until the 5th turn of the game and retreat on 6, right? So what I've realized is there has got to be a high percentage of people equivalent to those people who came to the limit poker game with a lot of money. I cannot tell you how many times just practicing aggressive snapping where I had arguably the best hands that you can have with some of the top tier decks and just the most insane stuff would happen, right? Whether it was locations, whether the RNG, like cards that do random abilities, and people like, I know you all have this experience. How many people snap you or stay in and then play a card that is purely based on randomness and they're just going for it, right? Now, some of you are gonna get trolly in the comments and say, well, actually, if they calculated the probabilities correctly, they're like, no. Stop. Some of that is like, it's a bad idea. Like going back to the poker analogy, right? Like if I have like a 20% chance to win and they have an 80% chance, like that's not a good idea. It wasn't a good idea for me to stay if I won. So a great book, I covered this in a book I made when I first started this channel, or in a video I made when I first started the channel. There's a book called Thinking in Bets by Annie Duke. She's a professional poker player and has like, I believe a doctorate in psychology, maybe a master's, I don't know. So she blends all this and her whole book's about making better decisions. And something she taught me about in that book is something called resulting, all right? And it's basing how good or bad our decisions are based on the results, which is a terrible, terrible way to make decisions or to gauge your decisions, all right? To base it on the results. This is the equivalent of me running across a busy freeway, surviving, and saying that was a good idea because I survived. No, it was never a good idea for me to run across the freeway. I can't say that was a good idea just because I survived. But looping it back to Marvel Snap, there are a lot of people who will stay in just see where the RNG takes them. They are people who are going to gamble more, all right? And to just kind of wrap this thing up, the more I think about it, and the more there are just people in there and playing on the ladder who will just stay in to stay in, they care about their cubes a lot less than you do, all right? Like, I just don't see the point. So I got up to rank 99, okay? I got up to rank 99 and I started losing so many 8-cube games, and a lot of them were because I initiated the snapping, all right? For example, I think the most cubes I lost was when the Nexus was the hot location, all right? I built a deck specifically for it. I think it was like the double She-Hulk Infinite deck. Nexus was the event. I had counter cards in there to, disrupt their stuff. And because it's a hot location, because, people are gonna be using random decks, it was hard to gauge what the other person had. People would just toss in Quake into a random deck. People would just toss in Storm or Scarlet Witch into a random deck. You know what I mean? And it was hard to know when your hand was strong enough. It's kind of like trying to snap against a Galactus player before you're 100% sure they're Galactus, because it completely changes what the odds of that game are. You see what I mean? So I tanked from 99 to 91, and then I just kept kind of yo-yoing. Yesterday, within 24 hours, everybody, I went from 91 to infinite, okay? All because I said, I'm done snapping. I am done snapping. I think like this, I did stay in when other people snapped if I had a strong hand, but I think there was only one, maybe 2 times, maybe 1 or 2 times that I snapped back on it for an 8-cube game. That was it. That was it. There was one game where I forgot, I snapped, and then everything went sideways and I lost 4 cubes, and I got mad at myself. I'm like, nope, Chris. But think about that for a second. Within 24 hours, I gained nearly 10 ranks, all right, just from holding back. So now we're really gonna wrap this thing up, okay? So again, in poker, you are betting to push people out. In Snap, it's not, it just doesn't have the same effect, okay? Now, some of the caveats are, one of them is obviously battle mode, okay? Battle mode is when you need to snap. So what people are forgetting is there are only 2 modes in Marvel Snap, and one of them is basically not even a mode, it's non-existent, okay? Because it is very specific, and that's battle mode. You are playing against friends, you're playing against people for fun, it's an exhibition match, it means absolutely nothing, right? But it's a place for you to kind of practice snapping. But the other scenario is tournaments. Tournaments is kind of similar to poker, all right? I've played in a lot of poker tournaments. You need to get people out, all right? Like in poker tournaments, they're constantly raising the blinds. For those of you who are unfamiliar with poker, there are blinds where you automatically have to bet. Like you have to put money into the pot. That's the way it keeps things moving, right? And then after a certain amount of time, that blind goes up. So maybe like 15, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. So for example, the blind in the beginning might be 2-4, all right? Where one person bets 2, the next person bets or puts in 4, you know, and that goes into the pot. That way there's always money in the pot. But in an hour, that goes up to 3-6. An hour after that, it goes up to 4-8. You see what I mean? So it keeps increasing. So there are reasons to bet, to push people out. Also, you have to manage your chips a little bit better because you know that blind is gonna be raising. So you can't just sit there passively and just wait for the best hands. You gotta take more risks, right? So in a tournament setting in battle mode, there are a lot more reasons to be snapping, right? You can't just slow play this thing the entire time. There's a lot more strategy involved. It's just not there when the ladder, and here's why. So in tournaments, right, there's things like, you know, how much time is in there, how much, what the other person's doing. The whole system's kind of different with like the 10 life that you have. And what I realized about ranking up the ladder, and I realized this a long time ago, and I've told you guys this a million times, what's your rush? What's your hurry, okay? Right now, I'm recording this in May. This is a 5-week season, all right? I ranked up faster, not snapping. The only real caveat here, all right, aside from battle mode, is that it is the end of the season you're trying to hit 100, all right? There is absolutely no reason to snap. There's just not. And I challenge every single person watching this to give me your best arguments. Give me your best arguments down below on why you need to snap before or at the beginning of the season. Just let me know. I don't think there's a valid argument out there. I have thought about this a lot. This is an unpopular opinion about snapping, right? So I've put a lot of thought into this, and I cannot think of a single valid reason, because why are you increasing your own risk when there's no real time limit? Like there's no rush. Like what's your rush, right? Like maybe if you're starting out at like rank 20, rank 30, right? But the first season I hit infinite, I went from like rank, I'd have to go back and look. You guys go check my old Magentris videos, but I went from like 30 to 100 or 40 or 50 to 100 within a week. So even then, and that's when I was snapping even more conservatively. So I don't think there's a single argument. Now, when you start getting to the last 2 weeks, especially the last week of the season, everything I just said, completely gone. Now time is a thing. If you hope to hit infinite, but right now we're in the 2nd week of a 5-week season. No reason to snap. No reason to waste additional cubes based on the randomness of the game. This is just an extremely random game. Cards have RNG, locations have RNG. It's random, all right? So anyways, like I said, this video is way longer. I thought it was gonna be like a 10-minute video, but I hope I gave you all of my thoughts and explained this properly. I might be 1,000% wrong. I might be 1,000% wrong, but I think the strongest aspect of this argument is there was literally no rush at the beginning of the season. So there's no reason to risk those cubes. How many of you out there are losing just like a crap ton of ranks snapping when you have strong hands and just stuff happening and you're losing 8 cubes, right? Wouldn't it have been a lot better if you only lost 2 cubes, maximum 4 cubes? Where would you be at now? All right, so let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But anyways, that's all I got for this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you're new, subscribe, ring that notification bell, help us get to 10,000 subscribers. Don't forget, join our awesome Discord community down in the description below, and follow me on Twitter at BootmanMSTZ so you can enter our monthly season pass giveaway where we give away 3 season passes for free every single month. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.